Okay, so today we are talking about delivering your freebie through Mailchimp. And the reason I'm coming on to do this is because I've seen quite a few people struggling with this in the group. So I'm going to run through really quickly some of the stuff that you can do. Now, hang on one sec. Why is it showing StreamYard? Here you go. Let's pop my branding over to that. So um, let's have a quick run through of what we're going to cover. I'm going to show you how to deliver your freebie, such as an ebook or a checklist or an audio meditation, whatever it might be, through Mailchimp. I'm not going to build out the landing page with you, but I'm going to show you the kind of software that you can use to create the pop-up on your website, hook it up to Mailchimp, and then I'll show you how to create the automation so it's sent out straight away so that when people opt in, they actually receive whatever they're expected to receive straight away without you having to intervene in any way. Now, there are a couple of limitations to the pieces of software that I'm going to show you. If you're just starting out and if you're only using one opt-in, what I'm going to go through with you is going to work like a dream. And then when you are ready to and when you need to, you can upgrade various areas. And I'll talk you through that at the end, because what I don't want to do is overcomplicate things, because I think for most of you, you're delivering one freebie. And I'll explain exactly why it only works for one freebie, and it'll actually start to become clear as we go through it all. So for the purpose of this, I'm going to assume that you have a free Mailchimp account and that you don't yet want to spend money on any kind of pop-up software. So what you need to get started is you need a WordPress website, which you are confident in using. You also need a Mailchimp account, and you need some form of pop-up software. I'm going to talk you through that. I'm going to show you Bloom, which is free if you are using Divi, because it's part of the kind of elegant themes family. And you could use Mailmunch, which is also free, and that works with any theme or any framework. If you need something more sophisticated, I'll give you other options at the end when you have more of an idea as to whether the free versions are going to work for you or not. So for the purposes of this demo, I'm using a free demo Mailchimp account that I have and a test website. So let's just jump straight into it. You should hopefully be seeing my free Mailchimp account. Let me just check in and see. If someone could just type into the comments and say that you can see my screen, that would be really super helpful. What you should be seeing is a screen that says your audience has 11 contacts. So hopefully that is what you are all seeing as well. If you could just let me know that that's what you're seeing, that would be great. There's a little bit of a delay on the comments coming through, but Katie, thank you. Yes, you can see Mailchimp. Perfect. Okay, let's dive into it. When I go over to Mailchimp, I won't actually see your comments, but carry on posting any questions that you've got, and I will come back to them and run a Q&A session at the end. Nikki, fabulous. Elena, thank you. Brilliant. Great. All right. So, oh yeah, Katie, I didn't even realize that. I didn't even see the typo, Mailchimp. Okay, so here, Mailchimp, here we come. So I'm going to start off in Mailchimp because first of all, before you do anything else, you want to create your automation. And this is where you're going to deliver your freebie. So what we're going to do is we're going to come into, when you log in, you come into your campaigns area and you'll see any campaigns that you have already created. And you just click on Create Campaign. When we're in here, we want to click on Email. And then we're going to go for an automated campaign. And in here, we're going to welcome new subscribers because these are people that are going to be new to our list, and we're going to deliver them something straight off the bat. So let's just say that my freebie is a Go Live checklist. Okay, so I'm going to do, I'm going to call this Go Live checklist welcome email. Now, underneath that, I am able to select an audience. Now, if you're on a free account, you're only going to be able to have one audience anyway. This, like I say, is my test one. So I have an audience called Test Mentor. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Begin. And when I come into here, some of this, if you've been using Mailchimp for any period of time, this will look familiar to you. But what it's telling us is it's going to send to the new subscribed contacts immediately once they join my list. And that's exactly what you want, because as soon as they hit your list, you want it to trigger this welcome email. So then we have the rest of the information. So this is who it's going to be sent out from. Subject, you want to type something in here. So let them know what it is that they're receiving. So you're going to say, here's your free Go Live checklist. And you can add a preview text if you want. So this is, so for some people who are using particular email applications, they will sometimes see a preview underneath before they've actually opened the email. So you can add preview text there if you want to. But go ahead and click on save. And so now you can see this is who it's sending to from, this is the subject that you've just changed, and now we're going to change the content. So we're going to click on edit design. And in here, they're going to give us like a template. This is just something that they have pulled together. So you can change your logo. You actually don't need a logo at the top of your email. And in fact, I would recommend that you don't use one. If you're going to use something, I would recommend that you use an image, which is perhaps related to whatever it is that you're delivering. So let me just think for a moment if I have got, well, so I'm going to add, it's completely random. It's not related to the Go Live checklist, but I'm going to add something in here. I'm just going to upload a mock-up. So I'm loading this up. So I've got an image that I can use. Once you've loaded something, you need to actually click on it to make sure that you get this little tick in the corner, and then go to insert. So just uploading it doesn't actually necessarily make it happen. Okay, so this is an image. Obviously, you can use anything that you like. It's going to tell me that the image is too big. So what you might want to do, what I recommend that you do, is that you have images that are set to 600 pixels wide. The depth doesn't matter so much, but Mailchimp will actually let you go ahead and fix it if you want to. So you can click on here and it brings up the editor. I'm not going to spend time doing this. The best thing that you can do is actually make sure that it's resized correctly in the first place, and 600 pixels wide is ideal. It's actually telling you to aim for 800 to 1200. I find that 600 works best. So now that we have got our image in here, we need to add some text, and we need to welcome them and thank them and deliver whatever it is that you promised them. So you can add in here, I'm going to just delete this, and you can say, hi. And then if you want to add in their first name, you use something called the merge tag, and you come in here and say first name. So if Katie has subscribed, then when this is sent out, it's going to say, hi, Katie. And in here, we're just going to deliver whatever it is that they've asked for. So we're going to say, thank you for joining my list. Here is the free Go Live checklist that I promised you. Hope you love it. And you can make it more friendly than this, but I just want to put something in here quickly so that I can now show you exactly how you're going to deliver this. So here is the free Go Live checklist. I'm going to make this into a hyperlink by highlighting it, and then I'm going to click onto the link here. Now you can upload your checklist or whatever it is to anywhere you like. You could upload it to Dropbox. You could upload it onto your WordPress website in the media area, and I can show you how to do that in a moment if you like. Or you can deliver it directly through Mailchimp. So if it's in Dropbox, you can just add a link to Dropbox. So you literally just copy and paste it in here. If it's in your media library in WordPress, again, you literally just grab the URL from the media library. And again, I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. But what I do want to show you, which lots of people miss, is that you can actually upload a file. So in here, I'm going to click on upload, and I'm just going to grab my Go Live checklist and let that upload. Okay, so now again, I need to click it so that we get the little checklist, the little checkbox here, and go ahead and click on insert. So now it's automatically generated a URL for the file within Mailchimp. So remember how we did that, where it says link to, we changed it from web address to a file. And it's really important that you recognize that if you're wanting Mailchimp to deliver the file from their own system. So I'm going to head, click on insert, and you can see that it's added the link. And that is pretty much your welcome email is ready to go. You will want to make sure that all of this is correct. So you come in here, you can either take out these social media links if you want. If you're going to leave them, make sure that you are adding the social media, your handle onto all of these social media links. So for example, my Facebook URL, I think, is the website mentor. And I don't use Twitter, so you can just get rid of Twitter. And my page URL is, and then if I wanted to add another one, so let's just say I want to add Instagram on here, I can just run through here, add on Instagram, and so make sure that these are correct for you, and then you can save them once you've done that, and then you can play around with the footer as well. So make sure there are certain things that you need to make sure that you're including in here, because people have to be able to unsubscribe from your list. You can take out these. These are the little Mailchimp icons, so you can take those out. It might, if you're on a free plan, because I know this on my demo one is a free plan, but it's so long since I've sent out an actual mailing for my free plan, they might automatically add them in anyway, I don't know. So you can play around with this if you like. Your mailing address is pulled in from whatever the settings are that you've set it as within your profile. So then you can go ahead and you can click on save and continue to check all your settings. But before I do that, I always do a test. So I'll send a test email, sending it to my email address, and I'll just click on send. Now, if you're on a free account, it only gives you a certain amount of tests. So be slightly cautious with your testing. I think you might only get 2 or 3 test emails from each campaign. I might be wrong about that. But that's what I seem to remember. If you're in an upgraded account, you can send as many as you like. So, so this is what we've got. So this is your automated sequence. So what this means is that now when someone arrives on your list, they will now receive your go live checklist. So when I mentioned before that there's some limitations, what you have to remember is if there's other ways that people are subscribing to your list, this is the email that they are always going to get. So if you have more than one opt-in, they're going to also receive this. So if you decide that you want to have, let's just say I have a go live checklist that's an opt-in, and let's say I have a guide to a successful sales page as another opt-in, I need to set up a way so that Mailchimp knows which opt-in they should send out. And I'll talk more about that in the end. I don't want to confuse things, but for those of you who have just one opt-in, this is going to work fine. Okay, so that is Mailchimp. And before I leave Mailchimp and go over into WordPress, there's one other thing I want to show you, because you will need something. So let me just finish this off. So we're going to click on save and continue out of here, assuming that we've seen our test email, we're really happy with it. You come through here, just double check all of your settings are exactly as you're wanting them to be, and then you can click on start sending. And what that means is that the automation is now live, and then when people do join your list, this is the email that they are going to receive. So then you can go ahead and create another one if you're wanting to. But before we come out of here, I want to let you know where you're going to grab your API key, because when we're in WordPress and we are connecting up a pop-up software, we're going to need your Mailchimp API key to get your website to speak to Mailchimp and send them to the correct place. So I'm going to click on to here, and I'm going to go to account. And under extras, you'll see something called API keys. And this down here is what you need to grab in order for you to connect any piece of software. So you're going to literally just copy that. So you can right click on it and go and copy. And I'll show you in a second where you're actually going to put that. So before I switch screen shares, let me come back over and see if any of you are asking questions. So hang on. Harris says, let's have a look. Harris says, I've had problems with Mailchimp recently with so many campaigns going into the spam folders. Do you recommend an alternative? Okay, Harris, it's kind of out of the scope of what we're doing with teaching with this. Mailchimp actually has really, really good deliverability. So I know that you asked this question somewhere else, actually, and I can't remember what my recommendation was to you. There's so many alternatives to Mailchimp, but what my recommendation to you would be to reach out to Mailchimp and to their support team and let them know that lots of things are going into spam folders and find out if they have a recommendation for you. If you've been blacklisted, so if people are getting emails from you that they're not wanting, then it could be that they've sent, if you've had lots of unsubscribes or if people have been reporting you for spam, that could be why that it's now being sent in spam folders. So let's just, let me change my screen now. So I am going to switch my screen share and share my screen with you. So now we're going to come over into WordPress. Okay, so hopefully now you're all seeing WordPress. Let me just come over and check if someone can just let me know that now you are seeing the WordPress pages, just to make sure that that screen share switched across correctly. Just type into the comments would be really great if someone could just let me know. Okay, Katie, thank you. You are quick off the mark. All right, perfect. So I am going to create a new page. Now, what I do before I create any opt-in page is I create the thank you page first. And the reason, I know that sounds like I'm kind of reverse engineering things, but when I'm creating the pop-up, I need the thank you page. But for the sake of simplicity with this, I'm literally going to create one page with a pop-up that just delivers a success message rather than redirects to a thank you page. Just because I'm wanting to show you how the automation side of it works in terms of the email deliverability. I am going to be running another workshop on about landing pages. So if you want more information and you want, because we're going to actually build out a landing page together and a thank you page. So if you want more information about that, just type landing page into the comments and I'll be sure that once I've got all of the information for it, that I will drop you a line and let you know that it's happening. I think I'm going to run it on Thursday this week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new page and I'm not going to build out the page. I'm literally just going to create the opt-in for you. In fact, I want to come in and show you what the opt-in is. So the opt-in pop-up software that I'm using is Bloom, and Bloom is a premium one. It is a premium plugin, but if you're using Divi, then you have access to Bloom as well. It's part of the family of from Elegant Themes. If you are working with me at all, if you've been on any of my courses and you have my agency license for Divi, then just drop me a line, let me know, and I will let you know how to get hold of Bloom. But another alternative is, the name's just escaped me for a moment. It is called Mailmunch. So you can use that. That's a free version. So when you are looking for a plugin to use, you're going to come over to Add New, and I'll just show you the Mailmunch one so that you can see it. I'm not actually going to use it today, but I'll show you the one that we have. So we have Mailchimp Forms by Mailmunch, and this is it. And you can see it's got 50,000 installations. So you just go ahead, click on install and activate it, and then you can use it. And a lot of these pop-up plugins are really, really similar. So when I show you one, it's going to be easy enough for you to find your way around any others that you choose to use. So I'm going to show you Bloom. So we're going to go ahead and create a new Bloom form. So these are opt-ins. This is, as I said, this is a test website of mine. So none of these are actually, they're active, but they're not being used. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new opt-in. And when you see this, and like I say, this is really similar across all of the different ones that you can use. We get options. We can either choose to have a pop-up. We can choose to have a fly-in. You've probably seen those where they kind of slide in. You can choose to have one that's static and it appears below every post. You can have one that's inline. That means it actually appears within the content. You can have one that when people have to actually opt in order to unlock the rest of the content, or you can have one that is a widget as part of a sidebar or a footer. So we're just going to use a pop-up. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to, this is basically where you set up exactly what it is. So I would put in here, go live checklist pop-up. And then you choose your email provider. So this is where you're going to choose Mailchimp. Now, I have actually already added the Mailchimp account, but this is where you would need to add your API key. So you would need your username. So for me, that's Website Mentor. And then it will ask you to add your API key from Mailchimp. And this is where you would add it. And then once you've added that, it can grab your email list. So my list was called Test Mentor. And so this now is connecting it. So it's basically saying when someone opts in, this is the list where we're going to enter people's names. So then we can go ahead and we can design the opt-in. So for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to keep it simple. So let's go ahead and we'll just go onto the customize one. Now here you can add anything you like. So you can customize the title. So so let's just add some text, grab your go live checklist, and then you can add whatever message you want on here. You can add an image. So you can change this image to whatever you're wanting, and you can choose how it animates. So whether it's slides up, slides down, with zooms in, flips, bounces, whatever. I would keep it simple. I wouldn't make it too fancy. You can choose to hide the image on mobile if you want. You can do all your styling with your fonts, colors, everything else. So I'm going to leave it as it is. But once you want to have a look at it and check it, you can click on the little preview button here. And this is how it's going to look. So you can see at the moment you are just letting them know they're going to grab your Go Live checklist. And this is where they add their email address. So now that you've got that sorted, you can also just, you can change the form styling slightly. You can also add your GDPR in here. So what you would put in here is by opting in to receive my checklist, you are agreeing to receive ongoing emails from me. You can opt out at any time. Check my privacy policy. So this obviously makes sure that you've got this in a kind of language that works for you with your GDPR. To add your privacy policy in here, you're just going to do this like any hyperlink. And go ahead and add a link in here. So let's just add the link for that. And you can center all of this if you want to. Let's just show you what that looks like again in the opt-in. So here you've got this little bit of blurb now. So make sure that you are GDPR compliant for all of these opt-ins. And then you remember where I said I wasn't going to create the thank you page. This is where you can change the success message that to whatever you like. You can just say something like, so excited for Go Live checklist is on its way. Check your inbox. And then custom CSS, this is if you're wanting to do any fancy styling. So that is pretty much how the pop-up is going to look. And then we get the display settings. So this is how it's actually going to look when people opt in. So you can choose any number of options here. So you can trigger it so it appears after a time delay. You can trigger it so it appears at the bottom of a post. You can do it when it's triggered on click in a button, for example. You can choose to display it everywhere on your homepage, just on blog pages. You can have it appearing on certain categories of blog pages. you can choose to display it only on one particular page. So if, for example, I only wanted it to appear on my About Me page, then you can just add that in here. You can choose not to display it, so you can exclude it from certain pages. So if it's appearing everywhere, you can exclude it from, let's just say you don't want it to appear on your privacy policy. If I've got a privacy policy in here, maybe I haven't yet. No, but let's just say you don't want it to appear on, oh, sorry, this is posts. So hang on one sec. So do not display on these posts. I thought it also had one for pages, but maybe it doesn't. So once you've chosen all of this, then you can choose how you're going to actually include it. So let me just say we're going to trigger it after a time delay. So let's just say it's going to show up after 10 seconds. Sorry. So then you can click on this. Where people are successful in submitting it, then you have a choice. You can either display that success message that we just customized, or you can redirect them to a URL. And this is where I would always redirect them to a thank you page, for example. And then you can go ahead and click on save and edit. And this is now it. So now this is just going to appear on all of your pages when people, after 10 seconds, or whichever pages you're wanting it to appear on. So there's lots and lots of other ways that you could present this. So if you wanted to change it slightly, so you could have it, let's say, because this is going to be easier for me to actually show you. If we had it, let's say, as an inline one, let's just do inline go live. It's going to be easier for me to demonstrate. You go ahead, you choose all of this again. So I'm just going to scroll through this. So I'll just leave. I'm not going to customize any of it. I'm going to leave that exactly as it is. And we've got the success action is going through to your success message. Now, when we generate a shortcode for this, because this is inline, so you are going to add this to wherever you're wanting this to show up. So I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to say OK. And now I'm going to come over and create a new page. So I'm going to add a new page. And in here, I'm going to say inline go live checklist. I'm going to do it as a blank page. And I'm going to use the Divi builder. And like I say, I'm not going to build out the page because I don't want to keep you here all day, but I'm just literally going to show you how you would add this. I'm just going to add in a code module. Now, if you're not using Divi, then this is going to look different for you. But if you're using Thrive, Architect, or whatever it might be, you can add it in a really, really similar way. So it depends what kind of editor you're using as to how this is actually going to show up. And I'm going to just click on publish. Now, you're not seeing anything, and I've realized that I can't remember if I actually activated that pop-up. So let me just come back and come over to Bloom, click on opt-in forms, and let me just check that it is go live, this inline sign up. Yes, okay, it is live. So if I go to the pages now, and in live, here we go. Let's just click on view and see if it shows up. And we should see it showing up. We're not. Hang on. That's a little bit bizarre, but let me show you one because it worked earlier when I did it. I ran a quick test, and I'll show you how it actually looked. I think for some reason I haven't activated it. So I think I did it on the pop-up test. Let me just have a look. I'll show you. So this is how it is likely to show up. So, so obviously you would style it. You could put it into its own column and all the rest of it. But basically, that means that now anyone who arrives on this page, signs up, clicks on this, will then receive that email that we set up in Mailchimp. So let me come back over here and just check. So Katie says, yes, WordPress. I think, perfect. Nikki, yes, you can see WordPress. All right, landing page for Elena and Louise. All right, perfect. So sorry, guys, I left Harris's message on there. I didn't mean to do that. Here you go. So hopefully you can see that okay. All right, let me take some questions because I'm hoping that was a really quick run through and I'm hoping that that has cleared that up. Any questions that you've got about this? Now, the reason why I've done it using a pop-up rather than an embedded Mailchimp form is because the embedded Mailchimp forms are so ugly and it's really difficult to make them fit and work and customize them so that they work with your branding. So in case you're wondering why we would go to the trouble of using a pop-up, that's the main reason, is because personally, I just don't like the embedded Mailchimp forms. Of course, you can go down the Mailchimp forms route if you're wanting to. And in the Mailchimp knowledge base, there's lots and lots of tutorials that will teach you how to do that. Okay, so I'm hoping that this was helpful to you. So you now know how to create the pop-up on your landing page, connect it to Mailchimp, and have Mailchimp deliver that initial freebie. Remember that the limitations of this are that you can only have one opt-in. And once you need more opt-ins, you need to use something more sophisticated so that you can tag people when they sign up. So in order to do that, you need to use something other than Bloom and other than Mailchimp, Mailmunch, because they don't allow for you to be tagging people as you're going through. And I use something called Optin Monster that makes it really, really easy for me to let Optin Monster. I basically say, okay, when someone opts in using this pop-up, send them to my list and tag them as go live checklist. And that means that when it's tagged, it's triggering the correct email sequence. So it delivers that go live checklist. And then I might have another one, which is teaching them about, it's a guide to sales pages, and I tag them accordingly. So the tag might be sales pages. And when Optin Monster sends that contact into Mailchimp, it will tag them and that tag will trigger the correct sequence. So as your needs become more sophisticated, you will just need to develop how that is going to work for you. And it does mean that you'll probably need to upgrade some of your software, most likely your pop-up software, because the free versions don't support tags. So here we go. Elena says, for my existing form on Divi, shall I just insert a new link? Can you just explain a little more, Elena, for your existing form on Divi? So we created on your page the other day. We were looking at it, weren't we? And you had a form that delivered that across to. So when people opted in and they signed up, you don't need to update anything on Divi. You actually just need to set up that automation in Mailchimp in the way that I showed you at the beginning of this. So you need to go into Mailchimp and have that email automation set up. And then from your website, from what I remember, it's already all set up. Yeah, the form which is already there. So the form was already set up. It's just that you hadn't activated your automated response from Mailchimp yet. Yeah. So to sign up for the freebie, just go ahead and set it up in Mailchimp in the way that I showed you at the beginning of this, and that will sort you out. So Louise says, is Optin Monster reasonable? Do you recommend any others if it's pricey? Thinking ahead for a client of mine. So, to be honest, I can't remember how much I pay. I think that I pay, about £200 a year for Optin Monster. So here is the link, Optin Monster. Let me just, I'm just popping that in there now so that you should be able to see that. go ahead and have a look. I hope that looks like a bit of a weird link. Actually, let me just have a look and see if that takes us to the right place. And let me just, here we go, here's pricing for this. It's about, so you can have the basic version for £9 a month. But I do think it's billed annually. And then, so other ones that people talk about that are really good are ConvertBox, and I've never used ConvertBox, but I do hear really good things about it. So you can have a look at that. I mean, there's lots of them. I think if you just have a look at pop-up software, you should be able to find plenty. But Opt-in Monster is what I've been using it for years, and I really, really like it. So so that's my kind of recommendation. Let me come back and have a look, see if there's any other questions. Okay, I think that's it. So hopefully that was useful to some of you guys, and feel free to ask questions after this. If you've got other questions that you want me to go through, then I'm happy to do that and answer them for you. And good luck. Let me know how you get on.